Have you ever wanted to have a near-death experience? Because that's exactly what our characters want, need, and do in the movie that we are reviewing on the Mixtape podcast this week. We are reviewing 1990 movie Flatliners, directed by Joel Schumacher and written by Peter Filardi. I will be your host. My name is Dean, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Marcelo Inostroza. Okay, so this was my pick. I don't think many people know about this movie because this movie, I don't know why, because this movie stars Julia Roberts, Kiefer Sutherland, William Baldwin, Oliver Platt, and Kevin Bacon. And it's got A-list actors in it. So, Marcella, had you heard about this movie before?
Yeah, yes, I've heard about this movie before, but I've never actually seen it, and I'm so fucking pissed that I didn't see it when I was a kid, because if I would have seen this movie when I was a kid, I would have fucking loved this movie, because everything about this movie talks about what I'm actually interested in.
Mm.
And I felt really uniquely qualified to watch this movie because as most of you know, I don't even think I've mentioned this on the pod before. I'm an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
So what the main crux of this movie is about, I feel sort of clashes with my belief system.
Yeah.
So while I was watching the movie, I was like, I wonder if this movie is gonna make me actually, sort of like not change my belief system, but make me look at things a little bit differently. And I'm happy to say that this movie did bring up some interesting questions that I spent hours thinking about after I watched the movie.
Oh, we should address those questions. That would be an interesting conversation. That would be.
Yeah, we should.
I want you to bring up some questions that you had because I'm all about this movie, right? You know, my energy is like this fucking movie. I love this movie.
Also, I do want to point out that I was really impressed with this movie because the only other Joel Schumacher film that I've seen, and although I just want to qualify, it's bad, but I love it. I don't care what anybody says.
Was it Batman?
The only other yeah, but I was really surprised that Joel Schumacher could make a movie like this, and I'm like, this guy made Batman. What the fuck happened?
I don't know.
What the
I don't know.
What the?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Because this movie is directed. I mean,
So well.
I mean, a lot. I mean, the music,
It's so dark.
the DP, it's just so great. I mean, it's great. But you know what? I'll just shut up and I'll just let Dean get to it.
Well, you know who you are in the movie. You're Kevin Bacon because Kevin Bacon is the atheist.
Exactly.
Yeah. So when I was watching, because I'd forgotten, I haven't seen this movie in ages. I'd forgotten. I'm like, oh my god, that's Marcelo, Kevin Bacon. That's you. Okay, let's get to it. So the premise of Flatliners is 5 medical students experiment with near-death experiences until the dark consequences of past tragedies begin to jeopardize their lives. All right. So the opening scene is so ominous. It's got really creepy church close-ups of fucking Mother Mary and fucking, you know what I mean? It's creepy shit, right? Like fucking gargoyle shit. It's got church music. It's like choir church music. It's creepy. Do you know what? Movies have absolutely bastardized beautiful church music because now it's creepy as shit, and now they use it in horror movies to creep you the fuck out. And it's just these close-ups of these like statues that are supposed to be angelic and beautiful, and like it's just like, oh, it just, from the minute it opens, it creeps you the fuck out. So it has that, and then we have an introduction to Kiefer Sutherland's character, which is Nelson, and is kind of looking out onto the bay, and he says, "It's a good day to die," and you're wondering, what? And then we get introduced to Kevin Bacon. They introduce all the characters quite quickly, but you know a little bit about them or straight away. So we get introduced to Kevin Bacon. He's the atheist. He plays David, and he's rushing someone into surgery, and he starts doing surgery, and then he gets in trouble for it, and you're trying to figure out why is he getting in trouble for it. And then we get introduced to Oliver Platt, he plays Randy, and he's recording himself So he
His
has
name is Randy?
his name is Randy, if you didn't know.
Okay,
I don't think they ever mentioned him
okay.
by name.
I didn't know. I didn't know.
Yeah, I had to look it up, by the way. I had to look up his name. So he's recording himself, and he's got a little bit of an ego in him. He kind of thinks he's kind of like above everyone. And then we get introduced to Julie Roberts' character. She plays Rachel, and she's sitting with patients, and she's listening to them. She's listening to one of them talk about their near-death experiences. The thing that I never understood with Julie Roberts' character is she's in a ward. So, okay, for people that haven't seen it, this hospital that they're in, it looks like a Greek pantheon. It's not a hospital. It looks
Yeah,
like a
no,
museum.
but no. Here's the thing. Look. Here's I'm sorry to step on you there for
No,
just
tell
a
me.
moment.
Tell me.
But this movie really confused the shit out of me
Yeah, the
because
location.
for the first for the first couple scenes, I'm like, okay, where are these fucking people supposed to be? Because the movie starts off. Look. The movie starts off like Dean said, with these ominous close-ups of these Greek-looking statues, and Kiefer Sutherland, walking, and saying it's a good day to die. Fine.
Mm.
But then it continues with Kevin Bacon basically being an orderly in the most dark, damp hospital I've ever seen.
Yeah.
The lighting in this hospital is awful. And I'm like, what hospital there is no hospital on the face of this planet that would have this lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it took me no, I kid you not, guys. It took me like 10 minutes to figure out that these characters were med students.
Yes, because where they are, it's not a hospital. Like, it doesn't look like a hospital, because in the ward that Julia Roberts
It
is
looks like a
working in,
church.
yes, it looks like a cathedral. It looks like some ancient ruins. I mean, listen, it's beautiful. It just doesn't look like a hospital. Now, the ward that Julia Roberts works in, I was confused because in hospitals there's different wards for different kind of whatever ailments kind of you have. So in her ward, she's talking to someone that is having a near death, that has had a near death experience. But then in the next bed, there's a woman that's dying. So does she work in palliative care, which is like near death,
No,
or does she work
no, it's got to
in?
be
I don't know what's the ward?
no, it's got to be. She has to work in hospice care because you're right. Because you're right. When we first meet the lovely Julia Roberts, oh God, be still my heart. Oh, I love you, Julia Roberts. She is talking to those people, and those people are telling her about the near death experiences. But when she switches to the old lady in the bed, that old lady looks like she was in hospice the whole time.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, it's not a big thing,
So
but I was like,
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
where she's working. Anyway, so you get introduced to all the characters within the first like 5 minutes, and then the first scene is this is when we find out they're all medical students, and they're they're doing autopsies in, it looks like, in a fucking church. It's not a hospital, right? How can that be sanitary? Are you fucking kidding me? This
That-
what?
that-
It looks
No, but
beautiful.
no, but seriously, that's the other thing that I was thinking when I finally figured out, what the hell they were and what the hell they were doing. I'm like, look, and this is coming from somebody who loves medical dramas. Dean will tell you,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm like, this is not sterile. What the hell are you guys doing?
Super weird. It's so fucking weird.
No,
Yeah.
and the other thing I would just want to mention is that the same screenplay writer who wrote this film also wrote one of Dean's favorites, The Craft. I don't know. I don't know if you
Oh, I
noticed
didn't
that.
know that. I didn't do enough research on that. Awesome. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and just real quickly, I do think that the screenplay writer did such a good job at economically introducing all our characters really, really fast
Mhm.
and getting to the point of the film as quickly as possible.
Yes. Yes, I agree. I think it was literally within the first 10 minutes, which is what it's supposed to be. So he did a really, really good job. So they're doing autopsies, and Nelson, which is Kiefer Sutherland, he pulls Rachel, Julie Roberts, aside and says, "Look, are you still able to come? Your only job is to monitor the IVs." And we have no idea what he's talking about. And she said to him, "Look, I won't be a part of you killing yourself." And so you're like, if you don't know what this movie's about, you're like, And then we meet William Baldwin, which he plays Joe, and he's a dick. He's coming on to Julie. He is. He's a dick. He is the worst kind of male there is. He's coming on. They're in an autopsy class, and he's trying to crack on to Julia Roberts. Meanwhile, he's engaged, right, to be married.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
what an asshole.
Meanwhile, he sleeps with all these girls, but he films them unknowingly.
Oh,
and he has all these tapes. Like,
God.
he's literally the worst kind of male. But anyway, there's that scene.
Yeah.
If you've got anything to add, tell me.
Yes, I do have one more thing to add. This is the Baldwin brother that I don't like. So the minute...
only one you don't like, this is the one.
So check it out. The minute I saw this guy come on screen, I'm like, oh, God damn it. The only character that he's ever played that I can tolerate him is he played a character in Backdraft. That's the only tolerable character that he's ever played that I like. But this motherfucker, every second of the film, I wanted to punch him in the face.
Does he just have one of those faces?
Yeah. He just has one of those faces, and yeah, he just does. And Dean, you know what I'm talking about.
No. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Finally, we come across someone you don't like to look at.
Yeah,
this is the first time. This is the first time. So, all right. So that's the first. So that's the first scene. We've got all the introductions out of the way. The medical questions, blah blah blah. Now, the next scene is we find out that Kevin Bacon, has gotten a 4-month suspension for operating unauthorized. But the thing is, he saved that woman's life. There was no other doctors around, and what he did actually saved that woman's life. But because he's only a medical student, he doesn't have the authorization to actually do that, and he's pissed. He's like, she would have died if I wasn't there. This is bullshit. I'm fucking leaving. I'm not doing medical school. I don't want to do this. I'm not going to do this again. Whatever. He's just fucking pissed off. Nelson comes up to him and says, look, please don't leave. I need you there tonight because you're the best. You're the best we have. Please don't leave school. Please, I need you there tonight. And we still don't know what Nelson's trying to recruit these people for. But what I found interesting was in that scene, why is Kevin Bacon rappelling down the side of his dormitory? Why doesn't he just go out of the front door?
I was exactly going to say that. I was like, okay. Look, I understand that he just got expelled for doing something that he was not supposed to do because he is a med student. But I'm like, why the fuck is he rappelling out of the door? Why doesn't he just go out the front door? I was going to say the same exact thing. But Dean beat me to it.
Yeah, there wasn't even said. Like, and the funny thing is, Nelson never even asked, why are you rappelling down the side of it was like totally normal.
No, I mean, okay. well, maybe the screenplay writer just wanted something cool for Kevin Bacon to do, and he just couldn't think of anything better.
Maybe they couldn't film inside a building, and they needed to get Kevin Bacon out. So they're like, well, that's the best way we can get him out without actually going in the building. I don't know, but it was just fucking weird. Anyway.
That's weird.
So weird. So the next scene, we've got Joe William Baldwin and Randy Oliver Platt, and they meet Nelson. Again, the location's so fucking weird. They meet Nelson. It looks like, again, a Greek fucking Pantheon building. And they go in like an old cathedral, and Nelson has set up all this medical equipment and explains the procedure. Now, we finally learn what he's going to do. And they're telling him, okay, they need to stop his heart. And they need to give him 1 minute and then revive him because he wants to have a near-death experience. Because he's saying that science has not proven near-death experiences. Religion can't get their shit together. I want to have a near-death experience. I want to know if there's something out there. And if there is, I'm going to come back with all the information and basically I'm going to be fucking famous because I want to know for himself. So he's willing to actually stop his heart to have a near-death experience. He is willing to trust these 4 other medical students to revive him just so he can see if there's something out there. That's fucking ballsy. That is fucking ballsy. And then Rachel comes in and joins them. And when the question is asked, Why is he doing this? You know, again, he says, because she's just come in late. I wanted to see if there's life beyond death, blah, blah, which is what everybody wants to know. I don't know if I would exactly want to stop my heart in the hopes that they could restart it again. But anyway, they get him ready. They put him under. Kevin Bacon comes in because he wasn't going to do it. And he's like, fuck, well, they're not going to do it without me. He comes in, he takes over because he's the best, and he uses a defibrillator to stop his heart. And then he flatlines. And Joe is filming for evidence. And I love this because this is scene 3 of the movie and you're already in it. This is already, you're already kicked off. This is within the first 15 minutes of the movie. You've set up everything. The screenwriter set up everything. Joel Schumacher set up everything. And now they're actually flatlining him. And this is the incident where it's like pushes the whole story forward. So what did you think?
Yes, this is indeed the inciting incident of the film, and Dean said it. The screenplay writer wasted no time. Joel Schumacher set up the world as quickly as he could, as badass as he could, and now we're just going 100 miles an hour. When we actually find out what Keith Sutherland wants his fellow classmates to help him with, I kept thinking for the first hour of the movie, I kept thinking to myself, these motherfucking people are crazy. These motherfucking people are crazy. These motherfucking people are crazy. The other thing that I kept thinking was, where the fuck is the security in this building? What?
I don't know.
But that aside, with Keith Sutherland's character explaining the procedure and why he wants to do the procedure, I thought it was a very, very interesting concept, and I thought that there could be some people out there in the world who have medical degrees that want to do something like this, but they're too afraid to do it. And the interesting thing about this entire movie to me is that when people have near death experiences, everybody sees something different. And the reason why I think they see something different is because of their personal life experience.
Yeah.
So I'm no spoilers here, but I really like how Joel Schumacher showed the way when Keith Sutherland flatlined. I really like how he showed him going through death. And and what happens later on with the rest of the characters, I thought was endlessly fascinating. The other thing that I thought was, I'll say that for later, but I thought this setup was just great.
All right, so now, because Nelson's flatlined, we start flashing back and forth between the team trying to revive him, because remember, he said 1 minute and then try and revive me. So, and what Nelson is seeing. So we have the point of view of someone flying above this pretty field, and there's kids running and playing, or so we think, and there's a dog happily running. It's sunny, it's beautiful. And as soon as Kevin Bacon puts the defibrillator on his chest and tries to bring him back, it turns really dark and it turns really ominous. And that's it. That's the end of the vision, and they bring him back. Now, that might seem... Yeah, go for it.
In every fucking Hollywood movie, when they want to defibrillate somebody, the character takes the defibrillators and he rubs them together. That does not happen in real life, people. That shit does not happen. It drives me up a fucking wall when they do that. Oh my God.
Well, I don't know if that's real or not, but they did have a real doctor to show them how to use the equipment properly.
That did not happen. Oh my God.
So I don't know if that's correct or not.
And you know why I know that, people? Just real quick.
Yeah, go.
Because my family is full of nurses and doctors. So that's why I know that.
Yeah, right.
But I'm sorry, Dean.
Maybe they need to make it more dramatic.
Yeah, off you go.
It's like, we need to rub them together before we do it. Clear. So anyway,
off you go.
They get him back, and the next scene is they're trying to ask him, like, what did you see? So I love that most of this movie is at night and in really dark streets with harsh lighting. Nothing is soft in this movie. Everything is harsh, which I love.
No, No, nothing, absolutely nothing is lit in this movie. Everything is dark, damp, and gross, which is great.
Yeah, and it makes everything have really rigid edges. So I love the cinematography in this movie. I just love how Joel shot this. So
And the music too.
the music is creepy as shit. Yeah. So the team is asking, "What did you see?" And Nelson's sitting there and he goes, "I can't explain what I saw, but I felt like it was comforting." And he's saying like he has heightened senses now. So he can hear the hum of the streetlights. And Kevin Bacon's like, because Kevin Bacon is the atheist, and he's just like, okay, all right, so you can hear the street. All right, well, just might just be just a fucking side effect. All throughout this movie, he questions everything, even when he goes under. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So Rachel says, "I want to go next." Right? This was never about everybody having turns, but because they brought him back safely, now they want to go. Like they think it's Splash Mountain at Disneyland. Like, oh, I want to have a turn next. And it's just really fucking weird. So Rachel says she wants to go next. Right? It's weird.
Yeah, no, yeah. It's absolutely weird. And the other thing that doesn't make sense before Kiefer Sutherland's character went under, so many of them were against him doing it. But since they brought him back safely, like Dean said, they all want to go on Splash Mountain now. It's just fucking weird.
Yeah, let's go on Splash Mountain. Yay! Yeah, no. So Rachel says she wants to go next, and she's going to do 1 minute and 20 seconds. And then Joe says he wants to go. He's going to do 1 minute and 30 seconds. So they're trying to up each other on how long they can basically stay dead for, which is interesting. And so Joe wins because Rachel's like, yeah, I'm not going to do more than fucking 1 minute and 30 seconds. And so they've parked the car, and Nelson's sitting in the back. And his point of view is he's looking down an alleyway, and they all go into like a convenience store and they're just grabbing some food. So he's by himself. And I love this shot because as he's waiting for the others, he sees the dog from his vision. And it looks like it's in distress and it's crawling towards him and it's making like distress dog noises. And he's like, what? But what I find great about the shot is from Kiefer Sutherland's point of view, if you look down the alleyway, there are actually 3 demon faces, murals, that are painted at the end of the alley, which are so fucking creepy. And I just thought, and it's raining, and Joel Schumacher uses a lot of blue tones in this movie. He uses light blue tones, and I think he goes through all the spectrum of blue tones in this movie to simulate death, coldness, not comforting. And I love that. I love that. So what did you say? What say you?
I absolutely love the scene because, like Dean said, the way that Joel Schumacher staged the scene is Kiefer Sutherland is sitting outside waiting for his friends to come out of the convenience store, and while he's sitting there, you see the dog uh, basically crawl towards him like he's injured. But Dean got a nice catch at the end of the alleyway. Is these 3 demon faces, and it's the most terrifying thing that in this movie so far, because I'm sitting there watching this movie, and when I notice what is at the end of the street, I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I jumped. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
But you are so right. Joel Schumacher's use of light in this movie to indicate certain feelings and certain pieces of atmosphere is great. I think that his particular use of red in this movie is wonderful.
Oh, with Julia Roberts' character? 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So this movie wastes no time because now we
very
go
economical.
straight into the next flat. We don't worry about setting up. We go straight into the vision, Joe's vision. And we see a point of view of a baby being born, and then flashes of people talking to it and kissing it. But, oh, look at the baby from the baby's perspective. And now we see Joe is on the table. He's already flatlining. They're already trying to get him back. And we go back to Joe's vision, and he starts seeing half-dressed women, very sexualized, very seductive. And it shows from it, what that shows is he sexualizes women now. And the point of view when he was a baby, he must have grown, I'm assuming, he must have grown up with all these he must have grown up, being very sexualized as a young boy, having exposure to all these women, and so now this is why he acts the way that he does, and it's kind of showing from a young age he was just around this stimuli, and now he doesn't think anything of it because he's so used to it, and then they bring him back. So, what do you think about his experience that he had?
Yeah, I actually had a different viewpoint
Oh, go
on
for it.
it. I was actually thinking that the way one of the he's like this is because he didn't receive this as a child, right?
Mm,
And and the reason why he sexualizes women now, the reason why he makes all these tapes, and the reason why he sleeps with so many fucking women is because he had that for a brief time in his life, but now as an adult he feels sort of trapped and sort of beholden to marrying this woman who we think he cares about.
mm,
So that's why I think that he um does what he does, and he acts the way that he acts,
right.
and that's why that's also why when he flatlined, that's why I think that he got those visions and those flashes.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, we won't know because it wasn't really properly explained.
No, it
Because
wasn't.
Jo- all of their visions that they have are kind of resolved, except his. I think so. Is
No,
it
actually, he's the one. No, his vision or his near death experience is resolved, but it's not resolved like the rest of the other ones are.
right? Okay. Okay. So we'll get to that when it happens.
We'll get to
So
that.
they bring him back, and Joey's trying to explain to the group because they're like, "What did you see? What he saw?" And he can't explain. He goes, "No, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it." And Kevin Bacon is basically saying, "This is all bullshit. Okay, you saw what you wanted to see."
Of
Typical,
course he
typical
is.
atheist. I love that they put an atheist in this movie. I think that
Whoop
that was
whoop.
such a smart move to put a complete skeptic in
My
there. I loved
people.
it. Yeah, your people. I fucking
Look,
loved it. So
yeah.
Nelson tells Kevin Bacon, "Well, if you think it's all bullshit, why don't you try it and see for yourself?" And he asks, um, and Kevin Bacon's like, "Yeah, well, nah, it's just going to be my brain chemicals and all that fucking typical atheist shit." And then,
That's what I. That's what I was thinking. Brain chemicals.
yeah,
Before he
exactly,
said it, I was like, "That's what I
exactly.
was thinking."
Y'all think
Brain
alike.
chemicals.
Swear to God, y'all think alike. So then Nelson asks,
We're a bunch of automatons.
so Nelson asks Joe if he casually, "Did you see anything negative?" And Joe says, "No, I didn't see anything negative." And he goes, "Okay, doesn't go any further than that." And then Nelson's walking home at night. It looks about 4 o'clock in the morning. Again, Joel uses lots of blues, or the cinematographer does. Raining, dark, dank. He walks into I don't know what it is about horror movies, but in every horror movie, when they walk into a train station at night, there's nobody there. Nobody ever. And that look, it look, if I don't know where they are, I'm assuming they're like maybe New York, Chicago or something. No, there's people in train stations anyway. That's annoying. Moving on, that's just a me thing. So there's no one there, and he sees this dog again, and he's like, "What the fuck?" So he starts following this dog, and it leads him to some back tunnels in the train station, where he sees a young boy, maybe 10 years old, who starts beating the shit out of him. And that's the end of that scene. And you might think that's random, but it's not. It'll come back later. But yeah, what do you think
No.
about those scenes?
Well. First of all, I just want to defend my fellow New York train stations here.
Hmm.
There are some train stations in New York that, like, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they're fucking empty. The only thing in the train stations are the fucking hobos, but they're actually on the trains, so
Yeah,
you don't see them.
yeah. I
Um,
suppose in, places like not
right, right,
like in Manhattan, because when I was there, I caught a
right,
train at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and there was more people on the train station than there was during the day. I was like, what the fuck is this?
right, right,
But in other boroughs, maybe, yes, maybe you're right. Maybe there's
right,
nobody.
right. But onto the scene again. I thought the scene was very, very effective because for the life of me, I thought this movie was going to be something that wasn't. I thought that this movie was going to be an exploration of death, but actually, I thought these characters were going to suffer, and they do,
Mm.
but not in the way that I expected.
How did you think that
Um,
they would suffer?
I thought they were going to be haunted by demons.
Well, they were their own demons.
No, but yeah. But that's it. They were haunted by their own demons.
Yes, which is
I
much
didn't.
more
I
powerful.
didn't. Yeah. I didn't see that one coming.
Mm.
And you know when I figured it out? Well, I can't say that because we haven't got there yet. But just to speak on this scene real quickly
Mm.
as I fuck around here. I love the cinema. I love the photographer's use of light, and I love when Kiefer Sutherland goes down deeper into the train station, and he comes across the same boy that he saw in his vision, and
Mhm.
that boy basically kicks the ever loving shit out of him. I loved it, and also another thing that I really really enjoy about this movie is the screenplay writer uh, as all of our main characters are going through their visions, he keeps laying hats on the ground that he picks up later on.
Mm.
So nothing that is planted in this movie is wasted for the most part.
Yeah.
Everything that Joel Schumacher does has a purpose, and everything that the writer does has a purpose.
Yes, exactly right. So now we're with Joe, William Baldwin, your favorite character. And he runs up to a
Fuck that
woman.
guy.
And he runs up to
Oh,
a woman and he says, "Oh, did you have a near death experience?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, I had one too." And you think it's innocent until he tries to crack onto her and you're like, "Oh, you're so gross." And they go into a building and the TV's on. And when he looks at it, it switches to one of his sex tapes that he's made of a random woman. And the woman looks at the TV directly at the camera, sorry, and says, "Why did you do this to me, Joe?" And he's like, "What?" And he blinks and it's gone. So now, so Kiefer Sutherland is seeing this fucking dog and this boy, and William Joe is seeing his sex tapes on TV with the women saying, "Why have you done this to me?" So, what do you think?
karma.
Big time.
No, I no, actually I thought that was a very, very interesting visual way to sort of convey to the audience that once our main characters go through this near death experience, some crazy funky ass shit is going to start happening to them.
Mm,
Look, like I just said, I thought it was gonna be fucking demons. I thought it was gonna be like Wrath of God type of shit, but I really like the path that this movie took.
mm,
And I like the fact well, I also like the way that these characters don't particularly communicate with each other that well,
mhm,
because I also think that adds to the tension from a writing aspect. When you have characters who don't communicate with each other for a specific reason,
mhm.
you can use that to hype up the tension. And I thought the writer of this film did that very well.
Yeah, because it all comes to a massive, massive blowout at the end,
It
between
does.
all which is
It
great.
does.
It does, which is great, creating tension. So now the team flatlines Kevin Bacon's character, the atheist, because he was like, "Fuck it. Woo! I'm gonna go. I need to fucking see." So his vision is basically his life rewinding all the way to being in the womb. And then we see him flying over snow covered mountains. And then we see train tracks and then a little African American girl just standing there looking at him. And then they bring him back. And that's his vision. So what do you think?
I thought his vision was very interesting because as an atheist, I would have thought he would have seen nothing.
Well, isn't that just a fucking atheist answer?
Yeah, I know. I know. See, guys, I told you.
Uh-huh.
But Kevin Bacon's character being atheist, Kevin Bacon's character being an atheist, and um, with me being an atheist, also,
Mm,
I understand that you can't really do that for a narrative story.
mm,
So it's very, very interesting to me that Kiefer Sutherland's dream had kids in it, and and Kevin Bacon's dream, my guy,
mm,
had kids in it.
mm,
So I find that very, very interesting that those two people had dreams that had kids play a major role in it in some way or fashion. So yeah, I just find that so interesting. And the fact, look, also something that I find very interesting
Mm.
is that when the person who has the near death experience comes out, I also like how they can't really explain what just happened to them.
Mm.
In a way, it's similar to having a really, really interesting dream, but when you wake up, you forget half of it.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So
Yeah.
they bring him back, and Kevin he's trying trying to rationalize what he saw. Oh, it was electrical currents in my brain. There was brain activity. And Nelson,
That's not
Kiefer
gonna work.
Sutherland, is saying, no, 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 you were dead. There was no brain activity at all. There was nothing. And then Kevin goes, oh, no, no, it must have been this. No, no, no. And he tries to tell him again. He said, you were dead. There was nothing going on. There was no brain activity. No brain activity. And so they were like, what did you see? And Kevin was like, it's really hard to explain it. But it felt as if he was being watched. And then Nelson goes, yeah, by the dead. That doesn't help. That's something I would fucking say. So Nelson then says he wants to go again, but he wants to go under for 4 minutes this time because every time they go under, they up each other's time. And Rachel says, no, she's been bumped twice already and she's next. And then Nelson gets the shits. And I find this interesting because Nelson has already gone. But the thing is, all the boys, they don't want Rachel to go under. They want to protect her. They don't
Yeah,
want anything
they
to.
are.
So that's why they keep bumping her because they have this like brotherly, except Kevin Bacon because he likes it. They have this like love for her that's like, no, 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 you're not going. I'm gonna go in, and she just gets pissed. And then Nelson gets pissed. He's like, and they go, all right, it's Rachel's turn. Rachel has to go. Like we cannot bump her anymore. Nelson gets the shits, but like he's already had a turn. Like, why don't you let
No, but
somebody else go? Why are you getting the shits? Oh, it was my idea and blah 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 blah. I'm like, mate, you fucking serious? Go for it.
yeah, but I'm sorry. The other thing that I'm thinking throughout the scene, again, I'm like, are these people fucking crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, yes,
Because
they are.
I'm like, yes, okay. We've established that they're crazy, and thank you, Dean, for confirming that because I wasn't sure. Uh,
That's what I'm
no,
here
I'm
for.
kidding.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, she's she's great. She's great, guys. She's wonderful. I don't know where I would be without her.
Me
Um,
neither.
yeah, I don't know. I'll probably be lost somewhere. All right. So, but but I really like how Julia Roberts' character stands up for herself and says, "No, I'm going to go next." And I also really like how Kiefer Sutherland's character says, "If I didn't come up with this idea, none of you motherfuckers would want to do this in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Yeah.
I did this just for me. I didn't do this thinking that you guys were going to go. I didn't do this thinking that you guys were going to turn into a thing.
Mm.
I didn't want to do that. He didn't say that,
Yeah.
but he basically said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
So I really like how Kevin Bacon is trying to get the attention back on him and trying to make it all about him when it's not anymore. It's about them, not him.
You mean Kiefer Sutherland?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. So now we're with Joe and Randy, and they're walking past an electronics store with TVs in the window. And on the TVs again, Joe William Baldwin, he sees these sex tapes with the girls looking directly at the camera, going, "Why did you do this? Why did you do this to me?" And so he starts freaking out a little bit because he's like, "Oh, okay." And then we see Nelson arriving home. Again, Joel Schumacher uses very blue death tones, and he arrives home to find that kid that was in the tunnels in the train station at his home, and this kid jumps on him and basically spits in his face, which is fucking gross. And you're like, who the fuck is this kid?
He whacked him with the hockey stick first.
Oh yeah, whacked him with the hockey stick and then spat in his face. And you're like, what? Honestly, like when it all comes together, you get it. But like at this point, you're like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
It's very, it's very frustrating because again, I thought I was going to get a different movie, but as we go along here, I'm like, okay, the movie I thought I'm getting is not what I'm getting, but I am fascinated with what I am getting.
Yes, yes. So Kevin Bacon wakes up, and Rachel, Julie Roberts, has stayed just to make sure he's okay. And he tries to talk her out of going under, and he asks her, like, why do you want to do this? And I love this response. She said, I've lost a lot of people and I want to make sure they're going to a good place. She's the only one that literally
I
has a
love that.
legit motivation. Kiefer Sutherland's
And
motivation
actually,
is just like, oh, I just want to see so I can get fame and money. Kevin Bacon's is like he's an atheist, so like he just wants to see. But her motivation is really fucking sweet. And I loved it.
no, no, but also, to me, for me, she was my favorite character in this movie because her intentions, like Dean just said, are very, very noble. And once you figure out why she wants to go,
Yes,
you're
beautiful.
like, oh my god, it's so fucking perfect. But we got to get there first.
Yeah, Julia Roberts is actually my favorite character as well. I really, really identified
Yeah,
with her motive. Not that I would do it, but with her motivation, like I get it
yeah,
because
yeah,
she works in
yeah.
hospice, so she's around a
Mhm.
lot of people that die, and she's like, I just want to make sure they're
Mhm.
going to. So that's awesome. So anyway, now we're back with
Also,
Rachel. Oh no, go for it.
Also, one more thing.
Yeah.
Also, I just want to look. Although I identified with Kevin Bacon's character, obviously because he's an atheist and I'm an atheist.
Mm,
Um, I also identified with Julia Roberts' character a
mm,
lot,
yeah.
but because of her because of how she has dealt with death in life. Because little known secret, guys, just really quick,
Mm,
I've seen a lot of death in my life,
mm,
so um uh and once we figure out what is happening with Julie Roberts and why she wants to do what she wants to do, I just like she was just speaking my language. Her
yeah.
character was like speaking through me. I'm sorry, Dean, for going on there.
No, 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 no. This is a movie where you should go on because it brings up a
Yeah, I know.
lot of questions.
Also, yeah, also this movie triggered me quite a bit.
Did
but
it? Oh, we
but
love the
yeah,
triggers.
but in a good and healthy way.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Not a like fuck, you know?
Yeah, no, I understand. So we're with Julie
Yeah.
Roberts' character Rachel, and she's in her ward, and she's speaking with an old lady, patient. And Rachel tells her, you got to stop holding on. And the old lady says she hears voices telling her to tell the people that she loves them. And I've done that. And Rachel says, but they're friendly voices. They're telling you what you need to know. And the old lady says, what? And she said, that you have someplace to go. And I was like, oh, that dialogue kills me.
Oh,
So
so
beautiful.
good.
It's so
It's so
beautiful. Oh
good.
my God, I love it so much. Yeah, so that's that scene. I loved it. One of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so great. The dialogue is so wonderful. What the old lady says, and God bless the actress who played the old woman.
Mm,
She did a great job. She's the same old woman that we saw in the opening when Julia Roberts was first introduced.
yes, yes.
So I like the way that the screenplay writer picked that back up,
Mm,
and I also like how this scene sort of reinforced what Julia Roberts really thinks about
yes.
about death and about what really happens, because her viewpoints may or may not change when she flatlines.
That's what I love about it because she has this viewpoint, and then when she flatlines, it completely turns everything upside down, which is
Yeah.
like
Also, yeah.
beautiful.
Also, I don't want to spoil it, but when
Mm.
she flatlines, she gets the one thing that she gets the one thing that she has needed her entire life.
Oh, 100%, which is why it was so powerful. 100%.
Yeah.
All the other ones were like, yeah, okay, but her one and
No.
her
Yeah,
resolution
hers.
was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just I'm but Dean knows this.
Mm,
I'm a very, very emotional guy.
mm.
When Julia Roberts' character got her resolution, I cried. I was like, "What?"
Oh, no, I cried too. It was
I was
beautiful.
Yeah, it was just great. It was just great.
Yeah. So now we're with Kevin Bacon, and he's on the train, and it's the same shot from his vision, and he kind of goes, "Oh, that's kind of fucking weird." And then all the train lights go out. He goes into the tunnel, and all the train lights go out. And then when they go on, he sees the little African American girl from his vision, and who starts berating him, calling him every single name under the sun, but kids names, like not an adult, Like you're not slinging adult insults. They're very kiddie insults. And then he blinks and she's gone, and he's like, "What the fuck happened?" So, what did you think about that before I move on?
Yeah, you know what? I thought it was very, very similar to what Kiefer Sutherland's character went through. And again, all throughout this movie, I'm like, these fucking people, they have a lot of fucking skeletons in their closet. And for some reason, once they flatline, these skeletons are coming back. And these skeletons or these ghosts or whatever the fuck they are, they want something from them and they want these characters to realize something. So all throughout this film, I'm like, what do they want these characters to realize?
Mm,
And
mm,
again, the way that Joel Schumacher uses light, uses color, the way that the writer has dropped all these hats on the ground, and the way
mm,
that he strategically picks them up as we go along here
mm.
is just wonderful.
Yeah. So now we're with Rachel, Julie Roberts. She goes under, she flatlines. And we see her vision. And it's a memory of her military father coming home when she was a child. She was maybe like 10 or something. And then we switch back and forth. We see Kevin Bacon. He races in and he's like, "Wake her up now, wake her up now." And they're like, "But she's only been under for fucking like 2 minutes." She's like, he pushes everyone out of the way. He goes, "I don't give a fuck, wake her up now." So we go back to the vision. And she's as herself when she was a little girl, and she's walking up the stairs of her house, and she opens, and this is where they use the red tones. She opens the door to the bathroom. She sees her dad from behind, and he's sitting on the bathtub, but you can't see what he's doing. And then her mother comes in, grabs her. The dad runs down the stairs out the front door. The mother and her run outside after him, and he's basically got into his car and shot himself. He's killed himself. And meanwhile, back at the fucking ranch, the power the power has gone out because they're doing it in some fucking cathedral. The power's gone out, so they can't really they can't use the defib because that and Randy looks at Joe and says, "Did you charge the defib?" And he's like, "Oh shit, no, I didn't." So they can't use it. So they're like, "Well, how the fuck?" So they start doing CPR on her like old school, and it takes them fucking ages, but they eventually
yeah,
get her back.
she was on there for like 5 minutes, I
Oh
think,
yeah,
right?
a long time, a long time. So what do you think?
Yeah, but also I love her vision because
Mm,
we really understand why Julie Roberts is obsessed with death and why she wants to know, and also we understand why she has that specific viewpoint on death and why she has a specific viewpoint on life
mm,
because because when she was a kid she suffered a tragedy. And I just want to say when when Julia Roberts, while she was flatlining, got grabbed by her mother, and her mother said it was all your fault.
mm,
That was when I got triggered, and I was like,
mm.
"Oh my god!" I was like, "This is not good."
No, 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 no.
'Cau- yeah, because I've been blamed for so many things in my life that
Mm,
weren't my fault, and
mhm.
when her mother says it was your fault that he did what he did, I was like, "Oh, don't do that. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
It's nobody's fault."
yeah. Blaming a
But
kid.
but but ag- yeah, but listen, but again, the use of the use of color in this film,
Mm,
specifically red, I think is great
mm,
because it signifies blood, it signifies danger.
mm.
It's just a really, really good choice by Joel Schumacher
Yep,
and his DP.
yep, yep. So while Rachel is kind of recovering, Kevin Bacon tells them about the girl from his vision. And he says, "This little girl, I used to torment her in elementary school." And then Joe pipes up and says he keeps seeing girls from his sex tapes on television screens. And then Nelson pipes up and tells them about the boy, and he used to pick on him in school. And Kevin turns around, he's fucking pissed. This is when it all comes to a head. Because he's like, "Why didn't you tell us? Why did you not mention this?" And Nelson's like, "Well, it wasn't worth mentioning." He's like, "You don't think it was worth mentioning that
Bullshit.
you fucking came back and started seeing visions?" And he's like, oh, no, but you never would have done it and blah, 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 blah. And Kevin's like, are you fucking serious? You've just fucked us all. And then Nelson says, look, I think we brought back our sins with us. And it's just like a massive
Great line, by the way.
Oh, a beautiful line. I mean, it's just like, it's a huge fucking, I mean, Kevin Bacon is right. Why? You didn't give us all the information, which he says is basically lying. You lied to us to get us to do it, to get us to participate. If you had told us, none of us would have fucking done this. And he's so right.
Yes,
I backed him 100%.
absolutely. He's so right. He's so right. He backed him 100%. No, and the other thing, the other thing is that if Kiefer Sutherland's character was completely honest about this, he could have saved everybody a mountain of suffering.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
The only look. Most of our main characters got something out of this, but the only person who really benefited, I thought, was Julia Roberts, because of what she went through, in my estimation, and because of the revelation that she got after she flatlined.
Yeah. I think Kevin and Kiefer both got it as well, but we'll talk about that when they get it, and I'll explain why
Okay.
I think that.
So yeah,
Rachel's in the bathroom, and it's the fucking most fanciest fucking school bathroom I've ever seen. It's like fucking churchy bathroom. Jesus Christ, fucking murals on the wall.
Churchy bathroom.
Jesus fucking Christ, where the fuck are they? Where the fuck are they? Shit.
No, but the other thing I was like, there's no medical school in the world that looks like this.
No,
because like
no,
because like Dean and I have said, this doesn't look like a medical school. It looks like a giant church that the archdiocese like condemned or something. Because the other thing is, there's no fucking security. There's nobody around. So these students, our main characters, are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want because there's nobody around ever.
I know. So anyway, Rachel's in this fucking funky bathroom, and she's trying to collect her thoughts when she sees her father in the reflection of the mirror. And you're like, ooh, that's fucking creepy. And then so we go back out, and Nelson has fucking lost it. He's fucking lost it. He's at his home, and he's bolted the front door, and he's staring at the door, holding a screwdriver. He's fucking lost it. And then we see a memory of him remembering him and his friends tormenting this kid that he keeps seeing that's beating him up. He has a memory of him and his friends tormenting this exact same kid, throwing rocks at him, he's up in a tree and they're throwing rocks at him. And then he appears in front of Nelson and basically knocks him the fuck out with the screwdriver. So you're getting a bit more of the story about what happened. So what do you think?
First of all, I kept thinking, obviously I kept thinking a lot of stuff throughout this movie, but the one thing I kept thinking was, why are fucking kids so cruel? What the fuck is wrong with children?
Like they don't understand. They don't understand.
How in the fuck do they think it's acceptable to bully other kids? Like what the fuck? I'm like, God damn it. Ugh.
Yeah.
But anyway, when Kiefer Sutherland's character decided to bolt himself in his house, the only thing I kept thinking is, you fucking moron. Do you think by bolting yourself in your house, do you think that this fucking ghost or whatever the fuck he is, he's not going to be able to get to you? He's a ghost, man.
Yeah, but
are you kidding me?
Yeah, but Kiefer Sutherland's character is a scientist. He doesn't believe in ghosts. He thinks this is an actual boy.
Oh yes, that is true. That's something that I have to remember. These characters are, well, all of them are scientific.
Yes. Yeah. So we're back with Rachel, and she's getting dressed. And once again, she sees her dad looking dead, her dead dad looking at her very dead in the mirror. And so she freaks out. And Rachel says to Kevin, because Kevin kind of stayed over to make sure she was okay this time. She's rushing out. She says, I have to stop her. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Rachel rushes into her ward, and she goes to where the old lady's bed is, and the old lady has already died. And Rachel starts crying, and she's upset because she wanted to tell her that the voices were wrong. And that broke my heart. Because imagine feeling that way. Imagine telling someone, "Oh no, it's cool. Yeah, just like there's a light and it'll be great." And then you have the experience of like hell. And so you've let someone else believe something and you think now that they are in hell because of what you said. That's horrible. That's horrible.
No, actually, it's very, very, it's very unfortunate because when you have a friend that you know that they're dying, and you know that potentially a conversation that you're having with them now could be the last conversation that you ever have with them,
Mm,
you are very, very, very aware of that, and also you are very, very afraid of that.
mm,
I don't want it to end, and I just want them to think that it's all going to be happy,
mm,
that it's going to be unicorns and rainbows. But the truth
mm.
is, you don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in this particular scene, I thought of a good friend of mine
Mm,
who died in college, and one of my last conversations with him, I asked him, "Are you afraid of dying?"
mm.
And he said, I'm not afraid of death. I'm just afraid of leaving all the people that I love behind,
Oh, wow. Wow.
and all of my friends."
Mm,
So when Julie Roberts came to the giant cathedral, or in the hospice section of the church hospital, I broke down because I thought of my
mm.
friend. That was
Yeah.
another trigger point.
Yeah. I think when people have long illnesses, they do get to a point where they're totally accepting of what's happening. And the only thing they care about is how will their family cope. They're actually not afraid of death. They all get to that point of like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm not even afraid anymore, which is such an amazing acceptance point to get to that I don't know if anybody that doesn't go through an illness like that, like a terminal illness can actually get to. But yeah, it's sad. It is sad. So shall I move on?
Yeah, no, it's just people that are going through illnesses that are going to only end one way, in
Mm.
death. They go through the stages of grief, right? So
Mm.
when they first start, yeah. So when they first start the journey, they're going, okay, I can beat this.
Yes.
As the journey goes on, they go, okay, it's getting a little tougher,
Mm.
and you know, as they get to the end, they're like, okay, I've tried my best, but I can't beat this. And what I have to do now for the remaining time that I'm here, I have to accept what is going to happen to me,
Mm.
and I have to understand that there's nothing I can do to save myself or what's going to happen.
Yep. Yep.
And lastly, I have to make sure that everyone around me understands how much I love them,
Mm.
and that it's okay
Yep. Yep.
that this is gonna happen, and there's nothing that they can do.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
So we're with Kevin now, and he's standing at an old playground, and he's remembering tormenting the little African American girl there. And now we switch to Joe, William Baldwin, and he's walking home when a girl comes up to him and starts cracking onto him. And he's like, and he finds it a bit weird. And then another girl comes up to him and cracks onto him, and he thinks that's a bit weird. And then he goes into his building, and there's another girl on the stairway and cracks onto him, and they're following him. And he's like, what? They're using all the lines on him that he used on them to get them into bed. Basically, giving him a taste of his own medicine, which I liked. And so he goes upstairs and he's engaged. I think I mentioned that. His fiance is there and she's found his videotapes and she basically just fucking leaves his ass. And he's like, no, please don't. They meant nothing to me. I, 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 I don't know. It pisses me off when people go, they meant nothing to me. And it's like, that doesn't make me feel better. That makes me feel like you're a dickhead even more because you can go out and do that and feel nothing. Like, yeah. So anyway, is that the conclusion to his story? The fact that he was caught and he got a taste of his own medicine and his fiance left him? Is that the wrapping up of his vision?
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
that's it. That's
Yep.
it.
Yep. Yep.
I just yeah, just real quick, I just want to say one thing about his type of individual. that type of individual sucks because that type of individual can lie to your fucking face and and go on and go on about his day, and
Yeah.
those type of people are the worst type of people to be in relationships with
Oh yeah.
or to be even friends with,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Because someone who can lie directly to your face without blinking is very, very dangerous.
It's so dangerous. Yeah, 100%. So now we're with Kevin, and he's on the phone, and he's trying to find the girl he tormented because obviously she's his age, and he's like calling around, and he finds her, and he goes, "Look, do you have an address?" So he writes the address down, and he goes outside his apartment, and he sees Nelson, and Nelson's fucked. He looks like he's been beaten up. He looks like he hasn't slept. He hasn't eaten, and he's just fucked. And he says, and Nelson basically says, where are you going?" He goes, "Oh, I found the girl." And he goes, "Can I come with you?" And Kevin's like, "It's a 2-hour drive." He's like, "Yeah, I don't want to be alone." Like, you can see he's mentally like descending into like fucked upness. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, I really appreciated that Kevin Bacon's character took it upon himself to try and do something forward thinking about the problem,
Mm,
because all the other characters are sort of letting shit happen to them.
yes.
Kevin Bacon's character, and I'm sorry I can't remember the character's name. People, you guys know I'm awful with names.
We'll just Kevin.
Um, yeah, Kevin Bacon. He's the only character in the film who takes it upon himself to go forward and do something about these visions. He's the only
Mm,
one that has a plan.
mm.
And I really like that. I also really liked that Nelson. I remember the name.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Nelson,
I, I, I also really like that Nelson really, really at this point just needs his friends and understands that there's safety in numbers, so to
Mm,
speak. So I really, really like. I really like the scene of Kevin Bacon finding this little girl that he tormented,
mm,
and the fact that Nelson admits that he needs to be with someone right now, that for him to be alone
mm.
is not a good idea.
Yeah. So now we're back with Rachel, Julie Robertson. She's in autopsy class in a weird looking church. Anyway, we've spoken about how weird that fucking is. So she's working on a body when she sees her dad under the cloth that she's working on, which is kind of a freak out. And he tries to reach out to her. And she freaks the fuck out and just like runs out of class. And meanwhile, Joe and Randy see this, and they're like, what? So before I move on, I like that scene. That was creepy as shit.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. And the other really, really creepy thing about this movie
Mm,
is that I mean, we've said it multiple times, but I think it needs to be said for the point that I want to make.
mm.
No medical hospital in the world looks like.
Yeah.
The
100%.
lighting the lighting in this scene is so dark and so misty. When you're learning to be a surgeon, I believe you me, folks, you are lighted to the
Yeah,
nines.
yeah, yeah.
And sometimes you have lights on your forehead
Yeah.
because you need to
Yeah.
because here's the thing, guys. When you're operating on someone, if you fuck up, they die.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but also to speak more about the scene. I thought it was very, very cool when Julia Roberts started freaking out and
Mm.
the sheet lifted up and the hand started to come out. I was like, this shit is creepy
Yeah.
as fuck.
Yeah.
It just unsettled me so much.
Yeah.
So many scenes in this movie because of the lighting, the direction, the music.
Yeah.
So many scenes made me so uncomfortably
Yeah.
creeped out. If
Yeah.
that's a thing.
Because nobody would think that this is a horror movie, but it fucking is.
No. Yeah, but also it's the type of horror movie that I wasn't expecting. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I also find that really really refreshing.
Yeah, that's what I love about this movie. It sideswipes you like, oh, this is a nice movie about medical students. It's quite lovely. And then,
Oh no.
and then you watch it like, what the fuck am I watching? Why am I watching this at midnight? Why? Why? So we're moving
Yeah.
on. We're with Kevin and Nelson, and they're driving to the address of the girl he used to torment. And he knocks on the door, and the woman comes out, and he says who he is, and they go inside. Now we're with Nelson, and we're cutting back and forth between Nelson and Kevin Bacon inside. Nelson starts freaking out. He starts hearing noises around the car, and he winds the windows up, because back then, folks, you had to wind windows up. There was no button.
Mhm.
You wound them up, and
Yeah.
they were fucking hard to
Yeah.
do. Anyway, and then
Yeah.
we go back.
And they hurt too.
They
Sometimes it
hurt.
would get stuck. I'm
Yeah, they
sorry.
hurt too. They fucking hurt too. Now Kevin, we switch back to Kevin, and he's apologizing to the girl. He's saying, "Look, I'm really sorry about what." She's like, "No, no, it's fine." And he's like, "No, it's not fine. I was a kid. I didn't know any better, and I'm really sorry." And she says she forgives him. And meanwhile, Nelson's freaking the fuck out. He jumps into the back of the Jeep. Kevin gets back to the car and sees Nelson freaking out, and he finds Nelson, because Nelson thinks the boy's there, and the boy's got a pickaxe to his eye. And when Kevin Bacon finds him, he finds, like, there's no boy there. It's Nelson with a pickaxe to his own fucking eye. So there's nobody there, and Kevin snaps him out of it, and he's like, "There's nobody here. What the fuck are you doing?" So his psyche has completely fucking lost it. There's nobody, even though we knew that. Now Nelson knows that. Nelson is like, "Wait, there's nobody there?" Kevin's like, "It's fucking nobody." And that's when he's like, that's when he clicks, and he goes, "Fucking nut job," and he does what he does next. But anyway, that was that scene.
Yeah, I really really like this scene. I mean, this scene is one of my favorites in the movie because I really really like it in film and in real life when people who have done something wrong to another individual own up to it and they say I'm sorry. And
Mm,
they give the individual that they've done wrong some peace and some closure.
mm,
And I think that Kevin Bacon's character did that as well as he could have done it.
mm.
And I also like that he wasn't forceful, and that I also like the way that he went about doing it.
Yep, yep.
And I also like the actor who plays the adult version
Mm,
of
the girl.
of of the girl, because at first you're like, oh, she doesn't remember, but as Kevin Bacon is trying to apologize, you can see that even all these years later, this act by Kevin Bacon and some of his friends still affected her in a way, so much so that when Kevin Bacon steps out, she goes, "Thank you."
Yeah, because when you're bullied in school, as I was, it stays with you. It sticks with you. You don't forget. You might
No, you don't.
pretend, but you don't forget. And what I wouldn't give for one of them, to call me up and to be like, "I'm sorry." Like, it just would mean so much to anybody. So yeah, I really, really liked that scene. So for anybody that's bullied anyone out there, find them and apologize, because
Yeah, make amends, man.
you might think that they won't remember you. Trust me, they will remember you. They will remember you.
Yeah.
So do that.
Hey, I mean, hey, look. I had this one. Well, just a quick aside. I had this one fucking kid who used to torment me in grade school,
Hmm.
and I still have nightmares about this little
Yeah,
bastard. His name was Greg. He used to torment the crap out of me.
yeah, yeah. We still remember, right? Doesn't matter if it happened 50 years
Yeah,
ago. We will not forget.
yeah. We
So
we
fucked.
still remember.
Still fucking remember. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
The group meet up, and Rachel tells everybody about her visions of her dad, because at this time she's not told anybody anything. So she's like, okay,
See,
she
but
admits it. Mm,
again, why aren't these people communicating properly?
yeah.
But like I said before, I think that adds to the tension of the film.
Yeah, exactly. So again, she's pissed at Nelson for not fucking telling them that this could possibly be a side effect of going under. And Kevin tells Joe and Randy, help Nelson find that little boy, and it might put a stop to the visions. And then Rachel tells Kevin the story about her father killing himself, and Kevin tells her that she has to let it go in order to move on. Even right, which is why I love her vision so much, because even though we may not think about certain things or a certain person, it doesn't mean that they still don't haunt us. Because as an adult, she wouldn't have thought about her dad fucking happened when she was like 10. She wouldn't have thought about it. But this is dredging it up. And if something, as you know, gets dredged up, it means that it's still there. And Kevin Bacon, is so much like you, because that's something you would say to me. That's something you would
No, but
say and you would do. And I love
yeah,
that scene.
yeah, yeah, but also when Kevin Bacon told her that she just has to let go,
Mm,
I got triggered up to nines
mm.
because
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
because
I know.
just a little note. A, c- a little short while ago, I was going through something, and a friend of mine, hint hint, wink wink, told me I have to let go,
Yeah.
and I gotta move on.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so triggered right now!
Yeah.
Oh my god!"
Yeah.
But also, what Kevin Bacon did for Julia Roberts' character is amazing because you need somebody to tell you when you're going through something like that. The best thing that you can do is let go, and
Yes.
and also when you let go, you become a better person and you move on.
There are a lot of things that people hold on to that they don't realize they're holding on to until it comes to the surface. A lot of shit. Oh no,
Ex-
I'm past that. It's like, you're not. You're not. So anyway, that was
yeah.
a beautiful scene. So now we're with Nelson, Joe, and Randy. And Nelson's like, "Oh, I know where the little boy is. Come. Let's go. Follow me." So Nelson leads them to a cemetery and shows him the boy's grave. And he says, "This is where I put him." And you're like, "Wait,
Oh shit.
what?" And then we go back to his vision of him throwing rocks at this little boy, and then the boy fell from the tree and fucking died. And so now you're sitting there like, "Well, how the fuck are
Oh
you going to resolve this? How is it going to be resolved if the boy is dead?" And then Nelson fucking goes batshit crazy, just fucking runs off. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go under and I'm gonna fucking sort this out, because if he can't sort it out on this side, he's gonna sort it out on the other side because he just wants it to stop."
no, no, it has to. And then at this point, Donald Sutherland's character as Nelson has completely fucking lost it. And I really, really like how he knew where the little boy was. And I also really like the fact that he sort of adopted Kevin Bacon's way of handling this.
Mm.
And he said, okay, the only way that I can fix this is for me to make amends. But the only way I can make amends is to do the one thing that everybody told me not to do and go back in.
Yeah. Yeah. We go back to Rachel, Julie Roberts, and we step into her vision. And she walks into the bathroom as a little as herself, but in her vision as a little girl, but she's as her adult self. And she pushes the door open. She sees her dad from behind. Now we see what he was doing, because we didn't know what he was doing before. And he was shooting up heroin. And he looks at her with such sadness in his eyes, like he doesn't want to be doing it. But obviously, the military has messed him up hardcore. And he starts crying, and she starts crying. And it's so sad. And basically, the whole time she was thinking, "Oh my god, death is hell, death is hell." But the whole time, what she didn't realize was he was coming to her to ask for her forgiveness. He hadn't let it go. He didn't know how to move on. He hadn't moved on yet because he felt so horrible about what happened. And she realizes this, and she realizes he was in so much pain that he had to do that, and that he had to die because he just couldn't live with the pain of what he experienced anymore. And then they hug and they cry, and she releases it, and he gets the forgiveness that he's always wanted. And it was a beautiful, in a movie that's a horror movie, it was a beautiful scene.
Yeah, look, I've said multiple times in this conversation that there are multiple triggers that this movie have given me that this
Mm,
movie gave me,
mm,
but this was the biggest one
yep.
because I have I have and I had unresolved feelings about my dad who was killed.
Mm,
And when Julia Roberts figured out that it wasn't her fault,
mm,
that her dad was in such pain that he didn't know how to go on, and when they hugged each other, I was like, "Oh my god, what I wouldn't give
mm,
to just have one more moment with my dad and just say, I love you, dad." Because the last time I spoke to him,
mm.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, because we don't know.
I didn't say, yeah, he was just, yeah, I mean, just, I spoke to him one day before he got shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was actually planning to go on a trip. I was actually planning to come and see him.
Mm.
Um, no, but back to the movie. I absolutely love the way that that Joel Schumacher played the scene. Julia Roberts and the actor who plays her father. It was just a wonderful scene, and I was in tears
Yeah.
for about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
I had to stop the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's that powerful.
It, yeah, it was just so great.
So after that, Nelson calls Rachel to tell her he's going under again, but he's going to do
Idiot.
it unassisted because he's just mental. He's
No,
just
what are you doing?
because he's mental at this point. He just can't. He just fucking just can't do it. And so the team, she calls everybody and she's like, "This is what he's going to do." So they rush to stop him, but it's too late. He's already put himself under. So I love this. We go into Nelson's vision. This is probably my favorite part because I connected with this on a level that I didn't connect with anything else in this entire movie. And Nelson has now swapped positions with the little boy that he was tormenting. So now the little boy he was tormenting is now throwing rocks at him in the tree. And he's the one that's crying and he's the one that's saying, "No, please stop, please stop, please stop." And he falls to the ground, and as he hits the ground, he turns back into like adult Nelson. And he's like, "Oh, what this has done," and I connected with this so deeply, what the boy has done for him is he has given him the experience so he can understand and know what he went through, the terror he experienced. And the boy comes up to adult Nelson and smiles because he knows he just needed him to get it, because obviously the boy's already dead. He needed him to understand, and the only way a soul can understand is through experience. So now Kiefer Sutherland has now experienced what he has done to that little boy, and it's changed him in ways that we won't know because the movie's already over, but it's changed him. And meanwhile, they're trying to bring him back, and Nelson has been under for like 12 minutes. And so they're like, "No, he's dead." And look, if you're dead for 12 minutes, this is where the movie goes into fantasy land. You can't be brought back. Unless it's by divine intervention, you can't be brought back. But anyway, they eventually bring him back because Kevin Bacon just will not fucking give up. And when they bring him back, he starts to breathe. And the last line of dialogue in the movie is, "Today is not a good day to die." Because that was his first line of dialogue. And now he's realized, oh, he's learned a lesson. He's basically been to hell and back. And the last shot of the movie is all these biblical paintings, which I don't know what that has to do with fucking medical school, but it's a beautiful shot. And then that's it. That's the end.
No, but the interesting thing about the fact I'll get to Nelson's vision in just a moment. But the interesting thing about these gargoyles and all the paintings and the fact that this medical hospital looks like it's in a church. All these paintings look like of people that are like in some sort of distress or in some sort of hell. So I think that the paintings sort of signify that these characters have some demons or some things that they have to come to grips with before they can move on and do what they're going to do here in the waking world.
Mm-hmm.
Now look, I might be bringing too much into it, but that's my take on it. Also, I absolutely loved this final scene with Nelson because it was such a good idea for the writer to put grown-up Nelson into the shoes of the little boy that he tormented to make him understand what he felt when he was about to die.
Yep.
Because here's the thing. You may choose to torture somebody for God knows what reason, but you have no idea what your actions do to other people.
Yep.
The only way, the only way for you to truly know that is to, number one, ask them, or number two, swap bodies with them, which we know is
Yeah.
sort of impossible
Yeah.
in our waking world.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I thought it was such a good storytelling device that the writer used to let Nelson's character know that the only thing that this ghost wanted was not to hurt him, but to make him understand
Mm-hmm.
that what he did was wrong,
Yep. Yep.
and to make him feel it and to make him get it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. And it worked.
Yeah, it absolutely did work. And also, just one more thing before I forget, because I almost forgot about this.
Yep.
The fact that the final line of the movie mirrored the first line of the movie, I was like,
Beautiful.
perfect circle, perfect circle. I mean, look. If I was a reader reading the script, I would have given the script like, just send this thing right to the blacklist, because it was so many things in this script were planted, and this script was so well thought out.
Yeah. Yep.
It was just great.
It was great. Great writing, great directing, great cinematography. It's great everything.
Score too. We got to mention the score.
Score was beautiful,
We did.
especially the creepy church music.
Yeah.
That was fucking A+.
Yeah.
All right, trivia?
Yeah, it's trivia.
All right, so first trivia is Val Kilmer turned down the role of Nelson.
Huh?
I could see him as Kiefer Sutherland's character. I could 100% see Val Kilmer.
Yeah, a little, but you know what? But now seeing the movie, well, I've never told you this. I'm a huge fan of Keith Sutherland.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. Nicole Kidman for Rachel.
Oh,
Nicole Kidman.
no.
That would have worked. I think it would have worked because she's got that innocent face. Or she did, not now, but she did.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I'm gonna have to go against you on that one. I gotta go with my beloved redhead. I gotta go with Julia for this one.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
The writer of this movie came up with the concept after his friend went into surgery and was telling him about a near-death experience that he had. So that gave him the idea to do for the movie.
That's awesome. That is wonderful. And I know what that kind of feels like, because I've been accused of being the Taylor Swift screenplay writer by someone. So guys, just a quick aside here. I've been a writer on and off for 15 years, and all I've ever done with my career is be a Taylor Swift. So yeah, I know exactly what that feels like.
Yeah. So the biblical paintings, the images are actually, and you're on it, are actually images of the underworld. So you were right.
Ah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So all the images when they were in the autopsy room, all the images when they were in the thing, if people look closely, they're images of the underworld, but there's also images of angelic figures pulling people out of the underworld as well. It's beautiful.
Cool.
It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. Even though, okay, they weren't in a hospital, the way that this movie looked and where they filmed was perfect, I thought. I can, all right, it's not in a hospital. Okay. Because if they had filmed this in an actual hospital, it wouldn't have hit the same. It would have been a little different, I think. It would have been different.
No, I mean, I mean, their choice to film where they filmed, and the fact that their medical hospital looks like an actual church, it really added atmosphere and depth to all the scenes that were going on throughout the movie. Also, another thing that helped, Dean mentioned it several times throughout our conversation, the fact that none of this movie takes place during the daytime.
Yeah.
Like maybe maybe one or two scenes, possibly.
Like 2 or 3 scenes, that's it.
Yeah, but most of it is during the day, and it just adds so much atmosphere. The writing, the directing, the photography, everything about this movie just works for a particular reason.
It does. And if we've got nothing else, shall we flatline the fuck out of here? Do you like that joke?
Yes, we shall flatline. Yeah, I like that joke. That was a good one.
All right. So
Gold star for that one.
Yay! So if you want to email us, you can. You can email how great I am. I've said this before, and how shit Marcelo is if you want. If you want. I mean, you probably should. You probably should, because Marcelo would love it. Wouldn't you love it?
Yeah, I would.
You'll love it. So you can do that at themixtapepod@aol.com if you want to review. If you want us to request any movies we. Wait a minute, I fucked that up. Let me fucking try that again. Hang on. Mixtapepod@aol.com, and if you would like to request a movie for us to review, there it is. Fucking got it. Fucking got it. You can do that. You can do that. We will do almost anything except musicals. Sorry, Marcelo. Sorry, please don't request. Oh my God,
That's
people,
okay,
please
that's
do not
okay.
request a musical. Oh my fucking God, please don't. Now we're going to get emails from people fucking requesting musicals. Fuck.
Wait a minute. Guys. If you want to make me really happy, please request a musical.
Oh no, please. I'm begging you. Please. I'm fucking on my knees. I'm fucking begging. Please don't. Please don't.
No.
Fuck. Anyway.
No, but me love.
Yeah, no, I just
No. Seriously, guys. If you request a musical, we will not do it.
Simply flat out, we will refuse. That's how much I fucking hate musicals. All right, so now that the musicals are out of the mix, next week we have we have Boogie Nights. That's going to be fucking big dick groovy, isn't it? That's going to be fucking groovy. So we have Boogie Nights starring Mark Wahlberg, and we hope you can join us for that, because that is a fantastic movie, because we like to mix it up here on the Mixtape Podcast, and a sexy podcast voice. If someone is kind enough to make you a mixtape, that must mean that they really love you. The Mixtape Podcast is a Balloonhead Productions presentation.